Don't miss our holidays radio story, a reflexive semi-Christmas story told while Atlantia of Mago de Oz is transmitted. Happy holidays and enjoy our Christmas story.
The story begins with a Sexy Txus background, and then the Atlanta album of Mago de Oz, but then added Raspberry Torte thinking and smiling, but then she in the picture wore a neck warmer like the firecracker, and then she was worn like firecracker completely. What? Raspberry is not the firecracker. Then there's something like a ship trip for all crossover mixed shows. There was a lot of ship boats making trips, Raspberry was making clothes and fashionable dresses, and the fisherman was fishing in his boat, even the one-piece ship was tripping. Then the characters noticed about thunders and the tide was high, the trip was so difficult to ride. But all ship boats were sunk when all the characters were near to a little island. Then the character had to swim until reach the island because characters never arrived to that. Raspberry was selling all her fashion clothes, while Firecracker went along with her. All the characters bought clothes to Raspberry.
Nos atrincharemos en tu almohada siempre que el destino tenga bien.
But then Raspberry wasn't enough to sell more clothes, there was nothing to do in the little island.
Cerrará el mercado del mañana, cese del planeta por defunción.
Then fisherman was fishing and saw the sea like reddish, and then he heard some thunders and it had come a rain, and then he caught a cold while a giant snowball had fallen into him.
Tos el cielo, truenos y luz, estornuda un alud.
Then the people with progress became a simple island into a little town, all thanks to the builder that then he had worn like Mega Knight, and he made something like a kind of strange dance mentioning all the good things that God and Jesus brought to earth and saying like God and Jesus are positive things and like he is too blessed of them. And explaining more Catholic events, like the heaven and hell, or even the Tower of Babel or God sacrificing his son. Mega Knight was too obsessed to Catholicism, and had shown all his money, saying like, he is too rich. Then Raspberry was helping all the town and blessing them with clothes and food. Then the Mega Knight was paying her, and all the town paid her but less than the Mega Knight. Raspberry got rich for blessing the town, like for example give a pudding to the Dark Prince, give food and goods to all the Clash population, and more residents were blessed by her. She played with her money because she got rich. But next day, she spent all her money in buy the island, high-end fashion, luxury cars, expensive instruments. And there was a moment that she was poor with just an expensive flute that she played for the town residents that they would pay her, but she has only 2 little coins in a cut bottle. When she started playing the flute, the town was raining, and as the days went by, then turned into blizzard, and is there when Raspberry caught a flu while she was almost covered with snow. Then 4 boys of Disney 11 took care of her, and then the boys gave her antibiotics with a rage tea, and they were seeing outside there was a shooting star while it's snowing. Raspberry was having effects of the rage spell. When she had the effects, Disney 11 boys drank a bit of rage spell. Then Raspberry gets up and starts making a civilization, in this case only her with Gabo, Dade, Ricky and Daniel, but then MGA and Fancy Lol dolls are watching the news in their smartphones and watch the new civilization. Then they join to the civilization after drink rage spell, and then Rafa looks for their friends of Golden Hawks, but they aren't with him, and then he joined to rage spell civilization after he drank the spell, and Santa Claus wants to join to them but Raspberry doesn't allow him. Then the rage spell civilization make a march saying all catastrophic things that happened before their wreck. Two barbarians decided to crucify Bandit, but the rage civilization banned the barbarians' action. And then, they showed to this 2 guys that they have to look at the fisherman, that he was looking tired again while he was fishing near the sea. And Santa's still insisting, but then Raspberry finds out that Santa feels hot and he is afraid of jungles because of wild animals. Then Raspberry makes her own Tarzanic look because she wanted to avoid Santa. She was bouncing and climbing like a monkey, highlighting her jungle skills, and fighting with wild animals. Raspberry was high under the effects of rage spell. This part was called Wild Raspberry, but what happened next? Raspberry was running at high speed with a hot pink Ferrari F40, and then Santa realized her racing and run his truck and raced to reach her, but it looks like Raspberry still refusing him, even he is wearing a magenta and light green suit instead his traditional red and white, and then the civilization returns when Raspberry falls off the car and her army saves her, and then they go to a snowy hilltop with a bag of Clash coins. The weather was really hot that they are putting sunblock onto the coins in a pyramidal shape. And then when they see and laugh at a kind of dark tree that is sacred of them, they take their wings paragliders and go to the beach. Then they take their swimsuits and enjoy the beach, and the sea start heating and the seashore was opening because there was a skeleton awaking because the rage of Raspberry. Then the civilization see an awaking skeleton horde around the stone houses. Then they run furious trying to avoid the raging skeleton army. Then they change clothes into normal, but when they were changing their clothes, each member of the civilization drank a bit of rage spell, but Raspberry drank rage and haste spell, but in large quantities. The civilization started showing in rage mode, and satanic Raspberry Torte awakes from her, and Berry Bitty girls and Firecracker are worrying what is wrong with Raspberry, Lol girls too, because they are thinking what is wrong with Fancy and Cares. Raspberry is too satanic, and Harley Quinn and Bandit want to stop her. They start with a long Bandit dash, obviously Bandit taking Harley, and they are going to stop satanic Raspberry, but they find with Disney 11 boys and the 2 LOL girls. They say that Bandit and Harley won't dash onto them. However, they make a shield to Raspberry, but Bandit doesn't give a hoot and dashes onto the shield to control Raspberry and come back into her normal mode. However, she is still in her satanic mode, and still making satanic disturbances. But then she leaves this freak mode and the others leave their rage spell behind while they are falling from a horn hill. Then, they make another march with her rage spell civilization. She was raged but the rest of her civilization wasn't. Then she set on fire and all the civilization put gasoline on flowers, old photographies, cash, and all the ground, making a kind of hell, and she doesn't want to remember when she was rich, when she helped the population, when the wreck island was their new home, but suddenly this happened. After the torment, a flashback of a luring city amphitheater that Raspberry was making a show that is her explaining she doesn't want to remember her rich past before Uttercup and wreck happened, and flying minions take advantage in this show, appearing like a huge horde of them, and all the characters including Santa enjoy the show. Berry Bitty Girls and Clash Royale fighters are cheering like the Hog Rider and Mario Baracus of A-Team and all his team, and Hatsune Miku also, and you will see Scooby-Doo, LOL Girls, DC Superheroes, One Piece, Mario and Friends, Sonic and Friends, Despicable Me Minions, Inside Out Emotions, and all crossover mix hits enjoying the show. But then Raspberry drinks third of Rage Spell bottle and chooses the Wizard and Firecracker to kill this huge horde of minions. Even she was locking Santa with a rope that she threw. And then, the Berry Bitty Girl returns into her satanic mode. Then she hits the table where the Rage Spell bottle was at and some drops of Rage Spell fell onto Mega Knight Eyes. And then he wants to fight with Jesus Christ, having a rage meltdown. And then Raspberry and her Rage Spell army go to play a house soccer match on a street football pitch. All the soccer field and players and ball are in flames because previous to that, the Rage Spell civilization put gas all over the field and then they set fire. MGA Cares is like a goalkeeper, Raspberry is like the arbiter, and Disney 11 boys with fancy LOL are like the Golden Hawks players, in this case of 5, like a 7-a-side soccer match, they play in flames. Gobbo team a goal once when Cares LOL girl dead and keep a goal. Then in the second lap the players were furious and trying to know who is the winner. Gobbo team again a goal when Cares failed a goal keep again, but a toxic black rain stops the match and they are protesting after about more than 5 days since the fire soccer was played, but the rain started slow and then, a Clash minion spat dark elixir on Raspberry Torte face and ended up killing her. Raspberry Torte died. The toxic rain started higher, and then 4 boys of Disney 11 attempt to bring her back to life, while Date is playing guitar and thinking the sun is an orange that brings back to life Raspberry Torte when it is squeezed to give her a bit of its juice, and then she brings back to live and gives a hug to Orange Blossom, but just a thought of Date. Raspberry Torte dies completely. Then LOL dolls instantly started dying because the toxic floor. But then a toxic multiple lightning storms ended up killing all Disney 11 boys. And then when all Rage Spell civilization died, the image became monochromatic. And then, we all didn't know about this image was part of a book the Santa was reading. Finally Santa tells the final part of the book starting in 2025, and he is telling all hurtful truths, and beautiful things about life. He is still telling the final destiny. He said things like breeze, wind, moon, sun, fields and prairies, and where people were playing happy, flower perfumed spring sunrises, and the most important but underrated smartness.
Puestas de sol decoradas con los sueños aún por conseguir. Y aunque parezca mentira.
But all this treasure was looked down on by Gobbo. Even life was smiling to him. Gobbo still was angry, and when he says about this treasure was looked down on, he had a flashback about Raspberry looking down on him. And when he reads the selfishness, greed, and illiteracy of Rage Spell civilization, because that civilization ended, then an image of the Rage Spell civilization shows in black and white mode with a figure of Bottle of Rage. And when he tells humans are not mammals and even they did not become predators, he says that humans are just a virus, shows an image of Gaia virus and masked characters like Berry Bitty Girls, Golden Hawks or Clash Villagers. Then he tells about the Rage civilization was swallowed by the sea, and then he said that the real Sexy Txus was not Raspberry Torte, instead was Santa the real Sexy Txus for his sexy shoes or boots, and he says about the real Atlantida were all his environment. And the final part of the book shows the Golden Hawks spitting on the soccer field saying this truly sentence, when humans spit on the floor, they spit on themselves. And finally shows the heaven with Raspberry Torte like an angel and all their hits resting in peace, in 2035. But then appeared a joke that we are in 2021, but heartbeats start, and then in 2025 it slowdowns. However, in 2035 the death signal sounds.
Ecstatic underrated music radio. Discovering